Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. So today, out of all the ideas in the world, I want to talk to you about nothing. Know that you know nothing. This Socratic thought can be extremely scary at first. What are you saying? That everything that I know means nothing? Or all the knowledge, all the wisdom, all the experience I've gained in the world means nothing? Or it could be a very liberating thought. Think of all the books in the world that you've not read. Think of all the people you've not met. Think of all the places you've not been to. Think of all the ideas you've not interacted with. We often get too enamored by our own expertise. You find people who would define themselves as tax consultants who specialize in deferred taxation. And that becomes their personality. That's what they talk about at weddings. That's what they talk about at funerals. That's how they define themselves. Know that you know nothing is a philosophy. At the moment you embrace the fact and the thought that your palette and your canvas is completely clean, you open yourself up for excitement. You open yourself up to ideas. In his book, The Black Swan, Nassim Nicholas Taleb talks about black swan events. Now, black swan events are events which are highly unexpected, extremely impactful, and ones that change everything forever. Now, scientists always thought that swans were white until they found a black swan, and that day was a startling event for scientists. But we get hit by black swan events all the time. Can anyone think of a black swan event? An event which was highly unexpected, extremely impactful, and one that changed everything forever? 9/11. Couple of great examples. So yes, 9/11 was an example of a black swan event. It rattled the world. Before the World War II began, or rather after the World War II ended, the world slowly patched up. And the trust factor in the world kept going up until September 10th, 2001. That was the day we saw the recent peak of trust in the world. The next morning, a black swan event happened and everything changed. And since then, the impact has been enormous. Now, there are three realms of thoughts Nassim Nicholas Taleb talks about in his book. The known knowns, the known unknowns, and the unknown unknowns. And these are three different realms that people operate in. The first realm, the known knowns. The sky is blue. I know that the sky is blue. You know that the sky is blue. And we know why it's blue. This is where a lot of experts operate in. People talk about the topics that they already know about. People already know about that topic. They keep repeating the same thing again and again. Fine, there's a need for that as well. Then there are people who are operating in the realm of the known unknowns. We have scientists who are working on making solar panels better. They're trying to reduce the size of the solar panel, reduce its cost, and try to increase the amount of energy that smaller panel can produce. It's a beautiful iterative process of improvement, very important process for the development of humankind. But it was not the constant development of candles which led to the invention of the light bulb. And this is where the unknown unknowns come into play. What are those variables that we have not even thought about thinking about? What's out there that has not even crossed our mind? What are those sets of variables which we are not even considering? Now, when you think of the unknown unknowns, it often reeks of uncertainty. Now, majority of us, 99.99999% of people, look for certainty in their lives. And yet there are some people who embrace uncertainty. They let it sink in their gut and they become okay with it. Now, what visually comes to your mind when you think of uncertainty? Darkness. What comes to my mind when I think of uncertainty sometimes is darkness. But there are different ways of dealing with darkness. Now, I'm not sure how many of you went to Nathia Gali as kids, when you're out with your cousins and friends at night, and you're standing at that particular point beyond which there is a little forest. And it's dark, and you're contemplating whether we should go inside or not. And 9 out of 10 people are saying, oh my God, I don't know what's inside. And there's that 1% who's saying, oh my God, I don't know what's inside. In 1961, John F. Kennedy made a very important speech. This was one of his most famous speeches. Any guesses what he said in the speech? He said that in less than a decade, we'll put a man on the moon. What was more important about the speech was that he said, we don't know how. He indicated a clear desire, but he also said that we don't know how. July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong walks on the moon. To the entire world, this is a black swan event. To someone else, this is a process he employed, or their team employed, that country employed. And that process is called deliberate creation. It's the belief that everything that happens in your life is your own creation. It's the belief that anything that you want to achieve or make happen in your life, you can make it happen. History is full of examples of such acts in politics, in history, in science. You will find plethora of examples of people who thought of something that was almost unachievable and then went and made this happen. Knowingly or unknowingly, the process they were employing was deliberate creation. The first step for deliberate creation is to have a strong desire. When George Mallory was asked, why do you want to climb Mount Everest? He said, because it's there. Now, this might sound like a completely ridiculous thought, but here is a man looking at this mountain, this gigantic, largest mountain in the world, covered with ice and snow and the most dangerous of scapes, and saying, how dare this mountain challenge human potential? And that was this man's desire. Ridiculous? Maybe not to him, but to someone else at that time, it might be the most ridiculous idea. And the first step, though, towards deliberately creating was desire. The second and most important step is belief. Belief in yourself that I have the ability to make this happen. Now, can we think of someone who professed his own greatness before it actually came about? Muhammad Ali. Once again, history is full of such examples of not just Muhammad Ali, but so many people who almost predicted their fate. But what comes to us is blockages. And it's the blockages which stop us. And when we think of blockages, what comes to mind? The geopolitical situation, the financial crisis, law and order, halat. But that's not what makes us stop. These are just exogenous factors. People who deliberately create ignore these factors. The biggest factors, the biggest blockers are in our own mind. How am I going to do it? Is this the right time? What if this happens? What if that happens? Is this even needed? And the worst of them all, log kya kahenge? The greatest killer, the greatest slayer of all ideas. People who deliberately create don't worry too much about these blockers. They definitely ignore what's outside, but what they're good at fighting is the blockers that are in their own mind. Another important thing that people do who create deliberately is they feel how it would feel when they would have what they always wanted to have. I would request all of you to close your eyes for a few seconds. Think of your greatest desire. It could be $1 million. It could be feeding 10,000 people. It could be being in that amazing place you always wanted to be at, or be with that person. Now feel it. Imagine that you have it. How does it feel? This is one of those greatest secrets in the world, where we wait for things to happen to feel how it would feel, except you can do that right now. Now, humans before us knew well that just the way we have the power in our limbs to move something from here to here, or we have power in our tongue to communicate something in one way or the other, we have power in our thoughts to make our reality happen. Do you think that Imran Khan, when he was holding that Waterford crystal in 1992 when he won the World Cup, do you think he felt that feeling for the first time? Do you think he got up there and said, oh, okay, this is nice, this feels good? He'd been feeling that feeling in his shower, in front of the mirror, since he was a kid. This was not the first time he felt the feeling. Now, the amazing thing about feeling that feeling is the moment you do what you just did, you send a message to the universe, and the universe starts to conspire to make your dreams become true. Now, people pray in a meditative way. That's the same thing as what we did right now. The idea is to feel it, to enjoy it. Rules. So there are all sorts of rules in the world. There are constitutions, there's rules about this, there's an ordinance about that. But people who deliberately create don't think much about rules because rules change. The face of the planet changes every 5 to 6 years. Just last year, Scotland could have become a new country. Just last year, Catalonia could have become a new country cut out from Spain. A new country means new constitutions. New constitutions mean new rules. Every day, hundreds of parliaments legislate to come up with new ordinances, new laws. So rules change all the time. People who deliberately create do not get stuck up with rules because they know that rules can be rewritten. And in fact, it's people like this who do things around which new rules have to be written. Luck. This is a very important aspect. People who deliberately create have a very different view of luck from most people. Now, you'd often hear people say about someone who's successful, ha, she got lucky, or ha, he got lucky. People who are successful themselves would never say this because they believe two things about luck. They believe that luck knocks on everyone's door. Luck knocks on your door every single day. That time when your cousin reached out to you and said, hey, I have this idea, let's leave our jobs and let's do this. That time when your uncle called and said, hey, move to this city, this thing can happen. That time when another teacher reached out to you and said, hey, let's start our own school. Now, you might think of those as distractions, but it's in its own way, luck was knocking on your door. But they also believe that whoever knocks more gets more. Now, when Steve Jobs was only 12 years old, he was building a frequency counter for his science project in his class. He looked up the yellow pages, found the phone number of Bill Hewlett, who was the CEO of Hewlett-Packard, and called him up on a Monday evening. Said, hi, my name is Steve Jobs. I'm looking for so-and-so parts to build a frequency counter. Would you happen to have them? This guy laughed. He said, how old are you? He said, I'm 12 years old. Not only did he invite him to his office, he ended up giving him a summer internship where he learned for the first time about assembly of computers. Did that skill come in handy later on in his life? Of course it did. So knocking on doors, as many doors, picking up the phone, making those calls, enables more and more luck to come your way. But at the same time, remember that luck knocks on your door. We just forget to answer the door. We just forget to answer that call. Now, who's the most successful fast bowler in the world? It's not Wasim Akram. Wasim Akram is the most exciting fast bowler in the world, most talented fast bowler in the world. But the most successful fast bowler in the world is Glenn McGrath. And what was he known for? Was he known for his greatest in-swinging yorker like Waqar Younis? No. He was known for his line and length. He was known for his discipline. He was known for knocking the door, and he was known for getting lucky more than others because he knocked and he knocked and he knocked. So when I put this in perspective of Careem, every day our team eats, sleeps, wakes up with one great desire. And it's that desire to create 1 million jobs in Pakistan by December 31st, 2020. Now, how will this happen? Will it be just cars? We've added rickshaws. Is it going to be more bikes? Are we going to launch a bus service? But in order to hit 1 million jobs, maybe we'll have to start food delivery and get a lot of people to do delivery. And we can start delivering from all of these restaurants. But should we open things up to home-cooked food? Maybe we will. Maybe everyone who's cooking in their homes and living and not able to go outside, maybe we'll get their home-cooked food to your doorstep in 20 minutes. That'll create a lot of economic opportunity. But there'll be a lot of uncertainties too. A lot of new laws are being made. So ride-hailing or hailing platforms generally are new in Pakistan. So the government is still startled. What are we supposed to do with these people? So they're writing new rules. Those rules could go either ways. But if you truly, truly ask me, how will we get to 1 million jobs on 31st December 2020? And you might think I have this amazing grand plan. Our team has this amazing grand plan that we discuss in this beautiful proverbial boardroom. The truth is, I don't know. The truth really is that I don't know. But not knowing liberates us. It liberates our team. It allows us to innovate. Because it's not been done before, we know that the burden on chalking out that new path is on us. So we're open to experimenting. We're open to trying new things every day. Some things work really well. Some things fail. We fail every day. It opens us to collaborating. We have to collaborate with all sorts of people. When we first got here, we were afraid of launching the service in the first place. Well, think about it. Here is a stranger driving another stranger, collaborating. One person doesn't have a job. One person doesn't have a way to get to work. You're getting them to collaborate. Is there a risk involved? Absolutely. But it's only when you will test those limits that you'll find ways of creating that collaboration. And when we think about this goal of ours, it does sound daunting, but I know that we have more than 200 million collaborators in Pakistan, and we have amazing people in rooms like this who will help us get there. Thank you very much.